Hello everyone. Today, we will be exploring how to add custom fields in the transaction line editor in Salesforce Revenue Cloud Advanced. Here are the necessary steps to follow. First, create a custom field on quote line item object. Second, add it to the transaction line editor as a column. Third, add mappings for this newly created field in the context definition. It includes adding a sales transaction item attribute, adding sales transaction item attribute tags, and mapping sales transaction item attribute to quote line item field. Let's jump into Salesforce. I have already created a custom field called as notes on the quote line item object. Let's go ahead and add it on the transaction line editor. You can go to any quote record and navigate to the Lightning App Builder by clicking Settings, Edit Page. Now you can see the quote record page where different components are arranged. From here, you can select Transaction Line Editor component to make the customizations. This allows you to add, remove, or rearrange fields as needed. Select Transaction Line Editor. Click Select button under the Display Columns section here and move Notes field from Available to Selected. Arrange the field as you want to show in quote line. And save. Let's go back to the quote. You can now see that the Notes field is visible in the Transaction Line Editor. Let me enter some value in this field and try to save it to confirm that the field updates are correctly reflected on the quote record. RCA typically takes a short while to process the update, as it needs to save and recalculate all the quote line data in the background to ensure accurate pricing and configuration results. As you can see, the value gets wiped out after the save operation. This happens because the field is not yet mapped properly in the context definition. Let's go ahead and see how to fix it. Go to Setup. Search for context definitions. Open the current active custom context definition that you extended from the sales transaction context. If you see multiple active context definitions in there, go to Salesforce Pricing Setup or Revenue Settings. Check which pricing procedure is getting used, and check the context definition associated with that pricing procedure. Select the appropriate context definition for your org. Click Edit. Then click Next. Again, click Next here, on the left-hand side. Select the node as Sales Transaction Item and click Add Attributes and enter the name as Notes. Select the type as Input/Output and select the data type as String. This creates a Sales Transaction Item attribute. Now, let's add a tag to this attribute. Click Next. Select Sales Transaction Item again. Here, you can either scroll down to find the newly created attribute or use the Search This List box at the top to locate it directly. Let me scroll down and look for the Notes attribute in the list below. Then, click Add Tags and enter the tag name here. And click Save. This completes the Sales Transaction Item attribute setup. Now, under the Map Data heading, go to the Quote Entities mapping and click Edit as Object Mapping. Then click Map button. Here, we are actually mapping the sales transaction item attribute to the quote line item field. This mapping ensures that any value entered in the transaction line editor is stored correctly in the underlying quote line item. On the left-hand side, go to the sales transaction item heading. Scroll down to the unmapped section. And choose the attribute you just created. On the right-hand side, go to the quote line item heading. Scroll down to the unmapped section. And pick the corresponding quote line item field. In RCA, this configuration establishes a direct link between the sales transaction item attribute and the corresponding quote line item field. It ensures that any value entered for the attribute on the sales transaction item is passed to, stored in, and reflected within the related quote line item field, maintaining data consistency between both entities. Once done, scroll back to the top and click Save. This completes the context mapping. Now, let me go back to the code and refresh it. Now, let me try to enter some text in the notes field and click Save. Let's allow RCA to perform its backend calculations and complete the save process. During this step, RCA processes all relevant pricing, attribute, and rule evaluations in the background to ensure that the quote reflects the most accurate and up-to-date values. You can see that the field value is being saved correctly. Additionally, if you look at the quote line item details, you'll notice that the field value has been successfully stored there as well. That's how you can add a custom field on the transaction line editor as a column. I hope this video was useful. Share your questions in the comments and be sure to like and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for watching.